Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I am your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. It's been a big week for me, guys. No longer do I have bowel movement issues. I'm good to go. I had some eggs, felt great. I had some Lady Falcon Coffee Club coffee, so I'm feeling great. I'm chipper, I'm up. I'm ready to go. 1 week until my marathon, more or less 8 days till my marathon, more or less. June. March 20th, I'm going to be running the Tobacco Roads Marathon in Cary, North Carolina. It'll be my 6th marathon, but my first marathon in a few years. Got some new shoes. The shoes feel good. Like I've been telling you guys, I've been doing the 75 hard. So this is the first time I've been training for a marathon without drinking beer. I love beer. I work at a brewery. And since New Year's Eve, I have not drinking a beer. I'm going to go literally, from New Year's Eve past St. Patrick's Day, which beats my record of maybe 3 weeks of not drinking. So that's pretty big for me. I'm going like 80 days, and I feel good. I feel quick. I can run a 5K in 1930 with ease, where before in November when I was drinking, I could haul ass and work really hard and run a 1930 5K. So that's how I'm feeling right now. As far as other stuff that has to do with me and not this podcast, but let's just dive right into it, guys. I feel bad. I woke up with some bummer news about Big E. 2021 was his year. He was the world champion. He was main eventing Raw, main eventing pay-per-views, and then day one came along in 2022. Literally day one came along in 2022, and Brock Lesnar took his title. I feel like he immediately got relegated to the tag division on Smackdown, and last night, right a few weeks before WrestleMania, he suffered a broken neck due to a German suplex from Ridge Holland, resulted in him landing right on his head on the floor, and he's out. He posted a very positive video, of course, the power of positivity. He says he can feel all his fingers and toes, and not to worry about him. But, we are worried about him because we all love Big E. I've never heard a bad thing said about Big E. He's the good example of how a football player can go into wrestling and make it work, do well. He works hard, bell to bell, and he's definitely got a unique and fun character, around ringside with the New Day and everything. So this sucks. Especially, there's a few injuries now that are really affecting where WrestleMania is going. I mean, you got Bobby Lashley, Big E. It's not like WrestleMania 32 where virtually everyone was hurt, it looked like. But then you have Seth Rollins, who, unless the rumors are true where they're bringing Cody Rhodes in at Jacksonville on Monday, he's out of an opponent. So you have a former world champion in WrestleMania out of an opponent because two other former world champions are, suffering injuries. So that's a bummer. But I think they're gonna make the granddaddy of them all super. What is it called? Stupendous this year. That's what they're saying. With Edge and AJ Styles, hopefully will be a good match, and then the return of Stone Cold. I think they can really fuck up the whole show, but if they don't fuck up those two things, it'll be a good WrestleMania. Other than that sad news, there's some more sad news. The only thing I hear really coming out of SmackDown is that they changed Pete Dunne's name to Butch. You should expect this by now with the WWE. They don't like normal names. So, of course, they're going to change it to Butch. He's teaming with Sheamus and Ridge Holland. It took him like 5 years, but I think he's finally going to be a mainstay on the roster here. Another thing I'd like to talk about, I don't think we talked about it last week, but was Cain Velasquez. Holy shit. He shot a man who molested his niece. In the great words of Dana White, we all say we would do something like that if it happens. Well, it happened to Cain, and Cain did. I think this means that he's going to go to jail. I think he's going to get a minimum sentence, but a minimum sentence for attempted murder is like 10 years. He's already got some money, so I think, for him and his family, they're going to do okay with this situation. But it's kind of one of those things, like Dave Chappelle says, when keeping it real goes wrong. Wish you the best, Cain Velasquez. But let's dive into it, guys. The week of AEW Dynamite, very much a turning of the page for AEW. The first show after Revolution, two big factions disband, or one big faction disbands, and one clusterfuck of a faction disbanded finally. Let's just go right into it. Chris Jericho lures Eddie Kingston out from backstage area just to try to shake his hand, saying that he respects him. 2.0 and Garcia come out. They kind of attack both of them. I don't know what was going on there. I didn't really watch Jericho getting attacked. I don't know if they were purposefully, not working snug on Jericho or even hitting him at all. I just kind of saw that they were getting attacked. And then Santana Ortiz ran out, give Jericho the bat. Jericho turns on them. So Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston are getting attacked by 2.0, Garcia, Chris Jericho. Hager runs out. Hager joins in on the attack. Damn, the Inner Circle is no more. They had a great run. They had a great heel run. They had a good face run. But like I said for months now, the only story you can tell is the breakup. And I guess this was the breakup here. You already did Jake Hager and Jericho versus Santana and Ortiz 2.0. And Santana Ortiz have kind of tensions has been building there with the battle royals and everything. I think this is the right way to go. What is this? This faction is called the Jericho Appreciation Society. I think it works. I think the Inner Circle ran its course, but Guevara kind of has split off on his own for months now. Santana and Ortiz were good at one point, but they don't really fit what Jericho's doing. And you can keep Hager with Jericho because he's kind of just like the muscle for Jericho anyways. But I feel like, 2.0 being from Canada, being a little older, being really good on the mic, they kind of fit Jericho's style more so than Santana and Ortiz have the last few weeks or months. And, Garcia, being kind of a shithead, cruiserweight, kind of reminds you of how Jericho was in WCW. So I think this faction is more along the lines of how people perceive Jericho now. I think in order to make this faction work, they cannot continue to play Judas. Judas is over with the fans. You mentioned Fozzy to anyone else who's not a wrestling fan, they laugh. But you play this song in front of wrestling fans, everyone knows the words. So in order for them to continue being heels, I would kill the music. I would find maybe another Fozzy song and play it, maybe without the words, just maybe a Fozzy solo or something to where people can't sing along. You don't want people singing along to this faction. They're no longer the cool heels like the Inner Circle was. They are the shithead heels. So that's the way I think they can make it work. Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. I think maybe Guevara is going to jump in this storyline as well. I don't really know where Guevara is going to go after he lost the title. Maybe he's going to play a second fiddle for a little bit in this Ty Conti, Paige Van Zant storyline, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. We haven't talked about the other faction that's breaking up, which was the AHFO. I thought that the best thing this group ever did was the breakup. Matt Hardy in the ring, Private Party behind him, Andrade in the ring, Interpreter, Butcher and Blade behind him, and they decided they're going to take a vote to see if Matt Hardy should still be in the AHFO. And he says, who are you kidding? Private Party is always going to vote for me to be in the AHFO. And they did, but then when Matt turned his back, they put their thumbs down, indicating that they voted no. They all jump Matt Hardy. Sting and Darby come out to save Matt Hardy, but the numbers game is still in the Andrade family office. And that's when the music hits. Jeff Hardy comes out, dances a little bit before he saves his brother, which, the internet had a good time with. But come on, that song's a banger. It was the old school Jeff Hardy theme song that we all know and love. So, he comes out, makes the save for his brother. Then we get, Jeff Hardy Sting stare down. Is this, what was that, the 2011, 2012 TNA pay-per-view where Jeff Hardy was too fucked up and Sting had to just like kind of force pin him? And then you get Darby and Jeff Hardy stare down, which, I would say very much similar here. They both paint their face. They both really don't need to talk to be over. They just kind of get over with their daredevil stunts in the ring. So that's cool. But you also have the Hardy Boys entering in this tag division that's already probably the best tag division of all time. You have Daniel Bryan and Moxley entering the tag division. So a new coat of paint on this already amazing tag division. I mean, all the way down, like, if the Ass Boys and Bear Country wrestled, it's going to be a good match. And then you can go up from there. If the Acclaimed and 2.0 wrestled, it'll be good. Then you got Santana and Ortiz, kind of a little higher than that. It's just the more you kind of rise, and the tag division is good top to bottom, literally top to bottom. And it's cool to see. It's really cool to see Rosa versus Baker in a cage. Hopefully Thunder Rosa gets her win here. I think it's been months in the making. We need to see her with that title. It's in Texas. She's from Texas. It's in a cage match. The writing's on the wall here, and the blood is going to be on the cage. Cole challenging Hangman Page to a 6-man tag. I thought this was pretty good. Hangman chooses Jurassic Express, much to the chagrin of the Dark Order. But then Cole says, he's going to choose a team that likes to party. And Matt Jackson says, you know what, with Hangman, we're not getting involved anymore. And then that's when Cole says, whoa, I wasn't going to pick you guys. I was going to pick Red Dragon. And that's, furthers the storyline there. This slow build is getting sweeter and sweeter every week. We want to see the Undisputed Era versus the Elite. We want to see that 2019 feud that never was happening in 2022. And you're getting ever more closer and closer and closer to it. With every segment and every match, they get closer and closer to a feud between these guys. And I'm excited. I like the slow build here. Just like the Kingston and Jericho feud. It took a long time to get going, but now that it's going, we get a great Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho match to kick off a pay-per-view, and now we're getting a new faction, or kind of two new factions, with Santana Ortiz and Kingston kind of branching off into their faction, and then the Jericho Appreciation Society. Goddamn, those promos are going to be great. 2.0 Jericho on the same promo. Sign me up. And then they're going to be talking shit to Kingston and Santana, who are also good on the mic. I feel like that feud is probably going to have the best promos out of the whole show for the next few months. I don't care what Punk is doing. I don't care what MJF is doing. That feud right there is probably going to have the best promos. Speaking of promo, Wardlow had a good promo. I feel like he looks like a star coming out of Revolution. Paige Van Zant gets involved in the main event, takes out Ty Conti, and signs her AEW contract over her knocked out ass. Literally her knocked out ass. The feud should be good here. You have two ladies who are new to wrestling. Don't get me wrong, but they both have legit fighting backgrounds. Usually that kind of makes for an interesting match here. And then you got all the accompanied talent on the outside from the men's division probably helping that match along as well. So that's probably going to be a pretty good feud. You get the English promo from Hikaru Shida talking shit to Serena Deeb. I think the promos are what kind of held Hikaru Shida back, but she's getting better and better at that. So it was kind of cool to see that aspect of her game getting stepped up a bit. Layla Hirsch feuding with Velvet, and then you got Deeb feuding with Shida. It looks like we got a good undercard division here in the women's division developing. That's the most improved aspect in AEW as far as 2022, in my opinion. But let's break down every single match from Dynamite and Rampage from worst to first. Number 10 out of 10 is the world title match, believe it or not. Hangman Page versus Dante Martin. This was the worst match on Dynamite. It was the worst match, even if it was on Rampage, but it wasn't a bad match. They gave Dante a little more than I was expecting. It wasn't just a squash match, but unfortunately, it was real sloppy. Dante, he flies so far and so well, I guess it's kind of hard to catch him and really have a hard time to get your timing right. if you're like, a Hangman Page. But, at the end, solidarity from Hangman Page. He, kind of gives Dante his respect. And I think this is the most important title run in AEW history. This is the first non-WWE guy with this title. So just giving him wins over wins over wins over wins each week is good. Kind of solidifies him as the champion. He needs to just run through everybody, and he needs to win with that buckshot lariat, which is what he did here. Number 9 out of 10 is the QT Marshall versus Keith Lee, only because the bell-to-bell was better than the Dante versus Page. QT is a great wrestler. His timing is great. Keith Lee, at one point, he hits the ropes, and Keith Lee just double smacks him in the chest, and he falls back like Looney Tunes. I get, Looney Tunes vibes every time I see QT Marshall. I get Chris Candido vibes every time I see QT Marshall. I love watching this guy wrestle. I was worried he wasn't going to be involved as much with Cody gone, but it looks like he's on more now with Cody gone. He can't hit his cutter, though. He can't hit his diamond cutter. So he gets a pounced 1-2-3 Keith Lee. Solo comes in the ring and literally gets tossed. Camarado gets involved. I don't know why they're not pushing Camarado as more than they are. They're kind of just using him as like a big guy jobber. But then Hobbs and Starks run in. Hobbs hits a spine buster to Keith Lee. This is the first time we really see a little bit of weakness from Keith Lee in AEW. Hobbs stands tall. Hobbs visibly smaller than Keith Lee, but still looks strong. This feud's going to be good, and it's just getting started. Number 8 out of 10, Pac versus Wheeler Yuta. JR says Yuta is already wrestling for 8 years. Holy shit. I know he did his training in Michinoku Pro. I know he had a run in MLW. I've seen him on Beyond, but 8 years. I was expecting more like 5 years. But good for him. It's really cool that he's such a veteran, so young. It does show in the ring. Pac hits an amazing deadlift suplex. Brutalizer, Yuta taps out. Number 7 out of 10, Rosa versus Hirsch. I try not to fantasy book too much on this podcast, but this would definitely be like my world title program if I was in charge of the AEW women's division. Layla does go for that turnbuckle wrench or whatever it's called under the ring, just like Revolution, and Red Velvet cuts her off. Blue Thunder Driver 1-2-3. Thunder Rosa gets the victory, and this is when they announced her being in that cage match. That's going to be a great match. Hopefully it's going to be better than that Revolution match. The Revolution match was good, but I found it a little disappointing. But going into number 6 out of 10 is Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Martinez. Both ladies working real snug here. This was a great match, hard-hitting match. Rebel on the apron. Baker lands 3 big elbows to the back of Mercedes' dome, setting up for Hayter hitting a huge lariat 1-2-3. Rosa comes out with a chair to chase Baker and the gang away, from doing further damage to Martinez. Rampage kind of had a formula to it this week. There's three out of 4 matches had the faction trying to jump the good guy, and then the better good guy making the save. It happened 3 out of 4 times. It happened in the Darby Allin versus Mark Quinn match. Mark Quinn, though, went off here. Lots of offense. 450 from the turnbuckle to the floor. No one home for the shooting star, though, and he ends up tapping out to the Fujiwara armbar. And then Andrade Family Office, I guess they're called now, kind of come out and slowly go around the ring. And then the Hardy Boys music hits. They come out dressed as the Hardy Boys this time. Crowd's going crazy. A very sedated AEW crowd, I feel like, for these 2 tapings. But when the Hardy Boys come out, they definitely reacted big, which means that I think the Hardy Boys are going to get huge reactions in these more upbeat crowds that they do in Texas and in the Northeast. Number 4 out of 10, though, Danielson and Mox versus the Workhorsemen. It was fun to see the Workhorsemen in AEW. They started in this promotion in Charlotte, North Carolina, PWX. So it's kind of cool to see them on a bigger stage, even though JD Drake has been in AEW for a while now. He really hasn't been the JD Drake we know and love in the Carolinas. So here, hopefully, even though he took the L, hopefully we get to see more of that coming from him. It was also cool to see Danielson and Mox team up. I mean, holy shit. Like I said before, the Hardys now, and now these guys, AEW, best tag division, no debate. JD Drake tabs to the LaBelle Lock. Regal cuts an amazing promo here. He was great in NXT, but now I feel like the chains are off. He's going off the cuff, and it's just a great promo. Number 3 out of 10. Jurassic Express versus The Acclaim. The Ass Boys in the front row. A little callback from the no crowds era of Dynamite. Caster's freestyle wasn't as good as the past, but it still kind of got me going, talking about gas prices and everything like that. Jungle Boy has been impressing me lately. Wasn't until the title run that I really kind of enjoyed Jungle Boy. I liked the music. I thought he was all entrance, but now I kind of watch more and more, I guess because it's a title match. And I'm seeing a lot from him. Mic drop, 1-2. Luchasaurus breaks that up. Springboards, Doomsday Device, 1-2-3. Champs retain. Number 2 out of 10 was Swerve Strickland, whatever they're calling him, versus Tony Nese. This got my 205 Live heart thumping on a Friday night. Just like they mentioned, Friday night, 10 o'clock, that was the 205 time slot. What a world of difference Rampages from 205 Live. These guys made the good move. This was a good match. Nese and Swerve. Nese had Swerve in a body scissors, but then they started going into this chop battle. There's something about being in a submission while the two men are in a strike battle that just makes me be like, fuck yeah. I mark out over that shit. Goes for a springboard moonsault, no one home. Swerve hits a deadlift brainbuster that looked pretty good. 450 from Nese, 1-2, no. Big double stomp from Swerve, 1-2-3. He gets the victory on his debut, and he was super over here. I liked his purple and orange tights. I feel like that might have been a callback to 205 Live. And every time he said Swerve's whose house, the crowd yelled Swerve's house. So, he does feel like a bit of a afterthought with Jeff Hardy coming out the show after he debuted, but he had a good match, and I think if you have some good matches, you can stay afloat in AEW. But number 1 out of 10, the best match in AEW this week, Sammy Guevara. I feel like 2022 MVP of AEW, Sammy Guevara. He has not had a bad singles match this whole time. Had a great TNT title run, and he's doing pretty well with Ty Conti if I'm looking on Instagram correctly. 630 through a table. Sky moves, no one home. Conti comes out. Ref wants him to call it. Sammy fights it off, wants to fight on, and even comes back for a little bit, hitting a shooting star, but Sky gets his knees up. 1-2-3, new champion Scorpio Sky. I'm shocked. I didn't see this coming at all. Sammy feels like a star. This was the first time that we kind of see Conti and Sammy kind of display their relationship on camera. I can see, a rivalry between, I guess, maybe Jericho and Sammy in a little bit. I don't know how they're going to really do this. They can pull Sammy in different directions here. But he did lose the TNT title, and American Top Team, Men of the Year, whatever you call them in AEW, kind of lured over them, jumped Conti and Sammy Guevara, and that's when Paige Van Zant signed the contract on Ty Conti's ass, solidifying that she's in AEW. I feel like Paige Van Zant has made for pro wrestling. She's got the MMA background. She's not afraid of the mic. She looks good. I feel like she's going to be a big star in AEW. This is a big, big get for AEW. I feel like you look at what they're doing with Jade. You look at what they're did with Wardlow, and then you look at Paige Van Zant, and you see some of those pictures that people are posting, and you she's in good hands here. Maybe behind the scenes train with QT a little bit, maybe in front of the camera come out with Dan Lambert cutting a promo, and you got a star on your hands, guys. I hope you guys liked this episode of Curtain Jerkin. Fly high. I'm out.